Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. So today, talk about Event Store. I know I covered the officers and a few of the ships in my last video. I'm going to go and talk about the rest of it. Now, yes, I am in the refit screen. Part of that is because some of the refits I have don't show up in the Event Store. So I don't want to not talk about them because this is, for the most part, to benefit you. So if I don't see it in the Event Store, I'm not going to talk about it. But, so here we go. I don't know if these Nova refits are in the Event Store. But what they do is, what the Nova does, think about it as like a Horizon 4 or 5-star. So the ship ability, isn't specific to a type of material. So there's a refit for increased ore, increased gas, increased crystal. Speeds them up. So I don't know how much they are, if they're even in there. There is potential. These refits here for these miners, these are the 4-star miners. Essentially what they do, this is a Romulan, this is Klingon, this is Federation. Their ship abilities, not the refits, the ship abilities increase, the corresponding material with that faction. What the refits do increases the speed for the secondary material. Like say for their epics. For Romulans, they're battleships, so the ship ability is increased ore speed. So this refit speed would be increased crystal. Klingon ones, the ship does increase crystal, so the refit's going to do increased gas. Oh, well, I didn't need to click on it. Well, I guess I could have just clicked on it, you see. Or for the Federation, because that's their secondary. Now, I clicked away from it. You see it's 200%, which isn't bad. I mean, that's pretty good. Their ship abilities don't get up to about 200% until roughly tier 4 or level 20, I guess. So the refits are nice, but are the ships? Are you going to get them? Of course, keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that if you don't have the ship, you don't see the refit. So there's that. But potentially these can be worth some loot if you already have this ship. Of course, if you have the ship, you probably think the refit is worth something. These TOS refits, see for the USS Enterprise, just a damage against fighting hostiles, 70%. Now, if they're the 4-star epics, they're 100%, which they're kind of old, so that's why the numbers seem kind of low. A lot of other things have come out recently that boost even more. Even some of these exo comps are more than that. They are nice to have. You can see I have one for my auger. I think when you get a 3-star epic around tier 5, 6, that ship is strong enough to do dailies and events for 40 plus. So hypothetically, if you're thinking about pushing up to 40 or past 40, if you have an epic ship around tier 5 or tier 6, you should be strong enough to do the events and your dailies. And this would boost that a little bit. So Yeah, there's potential for these to be worth it. Salvage or refit. I don't know why that's not an event store. It's not an event store, or at least I don't see it. Especially because these two are, or really these 5, and then even these 8. They're all in there. Simulated Stella. This is what it is. 30% efficiency isn't that much as far as I'm concerned. Even this exchange stuff for gas and crystal and stuff. Alright. It's not a whole lot. It's also very new, so why is it in the event store already? In my opinion, it's in the event store because even the people made this thing don't think it's that good. A 30% increase to the shippability of the amalgam doesn't seem like that much to me. It really doesn't. If you're a heavy raider and you love the amalgam and you think getting another 30% to that shippability is nice for you, then by all means spend some event store loot on it, because as of right now there's no other way to get this. With the Stella one, there is the new Apex, so that is probably some reason why it's in the event store. There is less value in it because it's more common of a thing. These weird Dominion refits for the 4-star uncommon ships. I mean, all they do is get you reputation 100%. And they're specific, you know. Kardashian is the Valdor. Breen is the Katinga. These Jem'Hadar guys are for the Kelvin. Well, I mean, it's nice and all, but what if I really liked the Jem'Hadar one, but I didn't have a Kelvin? I had a Valdor. When I don't like the Kardashians, I'd rather have Kardashians. Oh my god, did I say Kardashians on video? Holy shit. The hell's the matter with me? However, so I don't really like that it's specific for, you know, these specific ships. You can't just buy the refit and put it on whatever ship you like. To me, that means it makes them less valuable. And it's only 100% to reputation. You have several researches that increase your reputation already. So if you're getting 30,000 or whatever from a hit, this increase of 100,000 isn't going to change that to 60,000. So they're not that much. These fancy red and black ones, all they do is increase your mitigation by 200%. Now, that does sound like a lot, but keep in mind, mitigation caps. So if you can, like say you're doing an armada, you have Cisco on one ship, 5 on another ship, you probably already got max mitigation. So what does this refit do for you? Nothing really. What about hostile grinding? Sure. Could, potentially. Well, if you're using Pike Moreau Chen and your Moreau is tier 3, you're already at max mitigation, so this does nothing for you. I mean, it looks cool. It really does. It's pretty cool. Red and black and all. It looks nice. But what is it worth to you? This isn't in there. That's not in there. Constellation refit for the jellyfish may be in there. This is along the lines of the TOS refits I showed before, except does increase the jellyfish's ability. But the jellyfish ability is increased to damage. So I don't think the jellyfish is that good of a ship. Even when I was around 39 and I built it, it wasn't that great. partly because it's old. It was made several years ago, and so many other things have come out since then that it's just not as good as it was. This isn't in there. This is the Stella skin. Had lots of events about that already. You should know generally what that is. Infinity skin. This is only for the Vidar. This is not for the Vidar A. Increases your nanoprobes dropped. Meridian refit. If you don't have one of these, I do suggest getting one of these. They should be in the event store. I've already purchased it, so I'm pretty sure it's not in there for me. And I don't remember what specifically this additional refinery option was. Was it the third chest? I think it was the third chest. Like if you wanted to do a 3 chest pull, you had to get this. But don't quote me on that. I don't really remember. But I do know you get more ISO emulsion with this refit. And yes, you do want more ISO emulsion. Section 31 refit for the Discovery, I think, is in the event store. 50% more shards from the Discovery recruit chest, which you don't get too many of per week, though they are free to you each week. And it also adds Lorca to the officer pool. There's this. Don't know if this is in there, but this is just for swarm armadas, which are terrible. So there's no point. Projectiles. I don't see any projectiles in the event store, so I'm going to say that these 5 are not in here. Fusion beam, plasma beam, photon beam. They do nothing. They just look pretty. Plasma blast is if that's in there, it does increase your damage, crit damage. But it's all some of these are also available in the Amalgam store. This is a damage increase. This is a all your penetration stat increase. Here's another damage increase. And here's another crit damage increase. These do have value. And yes, you're going to say a few damage points, or a few damage percentage anyway, isn't that much. But keep in mind, it's not just for Armadas. It's not just for PvP. It's just not just for hostile grinding. It's all battles. So there's potential for this to be worth some of your event store loot. I think I got this one from the Amalgam store. These 2 from the event store. So I have spent event store loot on these fancy laser beams. Cloaking will be in there. So let's actually go to the event store. I mean, no, I don't see this as worth my tokens. I mean, if you really need to unlock one of these guys and this will do it for you, then maybe. I don't. Since there's too many other things in the event store that I think have more value. So I'm not sure that this fancy little special bundle is really worth anything. I think the exchange rate for resources and material is terrible. So you can skip that. Frames and avatars, yes, they look nice. They look fancy. Holy shit, are they expensive. So, no. All right, so let's get into the refit tab. Cloaking's in here. Get them if you want to. A good bit of these are available in the faction store. So, while yes, they do cost faction credit, you do have an opportunity to get these pretty much whenever you want. So, is it worth event store loot? Amalgam Cloaking. I guess it might just be me, but I don't see too much value in cloaking my Amalgam. Like, I mean, comment below, heavy raiders out there. Do you cloak your Amalgam when raiding a base? Otherwise, I'm not sure what it's for. Talked about that. This guy. The Amalgam refit for that one. That one I talked about. Sarcophagus cloaking. I mean, yes, you can get to a node quicker, but as soon as you get on the node, the cloak's going to go away. So, I mean, however. More faction shit cloaking. I would like to cloak my Pilum. For whatever reason, 4-star rare and above cloak is not in the faction store. Altogether, this will cost you about 448,000 event store loot. I'm not sure I want to spend, 80% of my event store loot on one thing. That, and it should be in a faction store. Like, why are they not in the faction store? Why is the Valdor cloak in the faction store, but the Pilum cloak isn't? Okay, boss. However, jellyfish cloak. Like I said, I don't think too highly of the jellyfish, so I just don't think it's worth that much. Now, I have been told that it does work, so it's not like it's broken or anything. I don't really like this shit. All right, what do they even call this bucket? Special currencies. You got some axionic chips. No, I mean, there's a lot of away team missions, and you get a daily drip every day. So I don't see the value in getting them from here. Trade XP. Trade XP is kind of tough because, yes, I do see a lot of value in trade XP. Yes, some of these trades get really expensive, but I think the Bajaran loop and your uncommon Armada credit claim box has trade XP in it. So I get 6,000 every other day. It's pretty good. I mean, it sounds good. 3,000 of your event store loot for that's not a lot. But could potentially elevate, your crit chances on your away team. So it's possible. For whatever reason, this is really popular. I guess it's just me and the kind of person I am, but I don't think there should be a cap on this cultivated mycelium. It's a farmable resource. Why is there a cap on it? So, out of spite, I'm not going to buy any of this garbage from an event store. Now, there is value. Lots of people love this stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, your disco, sure. But 2? Is it really worth 2 different claims? What? I don't really understand that. However, active nanoprobes. Oh, wait. Go back. Culver particles. This is your Cerrito research. I don't see the value getting it from the event store. I got plenty of it. Of course, I have had my Cerrito for a while. And now that they've made a few new Cerrito researches, finally, it's a different currency. It's not even Carver particles anymore. It's that stupid-ass Titan trash. So, no. I don't cloak that much. Mainly because my 2 biggest ships I don't have the cloak for because they're not available in a faction store. So, I don't think so. Bajaran store can increase your capacity. Of course, why you can increase the capacity of your tetraons and not your disco juice. However, I get enough. I'm not hurting for tetraons, but that's me. If you're hurting for tetraons and you want to spend a few, for 3,000, 3,600? Wow. I mean, it seems low to me, but it's an option. Cloak your ship more. This is garbage. All this does is take your little cloaking dailies and doubles the rewards, but I don't care about those stupid little candies because I don't do those researches anymore. I've already done all the ones that I wanted to do. Without this, all you got to do is cloak your ship and go hit something and you get the reward. So you get plenty. You get almost 100 a day, I think. More disco juice. Active nano probes. Yes, this is nice. It's kind of old for an event store because, I mean, with the Talios, and I know not everybody has a Talios yet, but I think the increase of the Talios refinery is nice. Definitely get more active nano probes. And there is also an away team mission. Though it is, this is a critical hit reward there, so it's harder to get, but just not sure it's worth my event store loot. Urbanite, it's Cerrito juice. Activate your Cerrito. You can activate it, 2 to 3 times for 7,000. I mean, I guess, potentially. Independent credits, 500 per 18, almost 19,000. That's a terrible exchange rate. That's terrible. Plus, again, Talios increases it a lot. Okay, Syndicate. It's tough because I do think the Syndicate XP, of course, the Syndicate line, I don't even know how you describe that. It's nice, and I wish I could get up higher, but for me, 150,000 for less than 10% of what I need per level now doesn't sound that appealing to me. And I don't know if this changes, this 850, if this changes by level or not. So if you're sitting there at, I don't know when the Syndicate unlocks, but if you're like 35 and you can get 16,000 of this stuff for 150,000, it doesn't sound too bad. I would say the higher and higher you get your Syndicate level, the less you're probably going to think this is useful. Orb Sphincters. But activate my super duper damage thing for my miners. Meh. Now I talked a bit about the specialty ships, but what's also in here now, faction ship blueprints. Now they did have the 3-star in here for a while, and they are in here still. I think these are so cheap in the faction store that I don't think they're worth event store currency. That's just my opinion. Now, yes, if you spend event store currency, then that's less faction credits that you have to spend on the ship. So there's some potential for that to be useful for you. But these 4-star ones, I think these 4-star ones are ridiculously expensive. I need 600 more blueprints for this tribute. Oh, well, I can get one for 7,000. Okay. So even if I had 700,000, I could only get 100. 100 of 650. Okay. Oh, and I'm also only limited to 65, which I don't understand. Why? So what? If I wanted to buy all 350 or all 650, why could I not do that? I mean, it almost seems like they're trying to diminish the value of the event store. Meridian Blueprint. Yeah, I didn't see the Meridian Refit. I guess I already had it. I didn't talk about the jellyfish. I think I did in my last event store video. God, have I been doing this that long already? The baby jellyfish has a ship ability to increase the captain's captain ability. So, like, say, Yuki. Yuki will get a boost. Potentially useful for base defense. I use Pike Moreau Una, Strike Team Una. So, it's actually a little better than Yuki, even on a jellyfish. So, but it's fairly cheap. So there is some usefulness there. North Star. Yeah, it's fast at mining 2 and 3 star junk, but it's got no protected cargo. Devore and Devore Fisha. Should be relatively easy. Yes, it does take a while to get enough blueprints for Devore, and it does take a while to get a max Devore to be able to scrap for a Fisha. So while I say no to the blueprints for the Devore, potentially, I mean, especially because it's 5. So this 6,200, you get 5 for it. So it's not terrible. But again, you're limited to 60. So you can get half a Fisha. Not even a whole Fisha. Okay. I guess it's appropriate I'm doing this last because this tab pisses me off. This Franklin bullshit. 1, 2. No, I didn't want to click on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are modulators. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different warp components for a Franklin or a Franklin A, which you get for free from a mission just by going to a certain level. Really? So this is for your second Franklin or your second Franklin A. 17 items. So if you come onto a content creator's show and you say, we don't want to add more stuff to the event store because we want to limit how many things are in an event store, maybe get rid of these 17 stupid ass Franklin bullshit things. 17. Maybe if you just made them universal for all tiers or something, you could just have 1 or 2 in there. Like, the Franklin's not worth that much to begin with. Yes, I get it. Some people, you're going to find some use in the Franklin. It's fine. It's your game and your plan. If you like the Franklin, by all means. Alright, since we're at the end, this is the Fisha interlock. For whatever reason, you get 1 of these for free. So if you want to mine with 2 big ass Fishas, well, you got to get a second warp interlock from an event store. And that's the only place to get a second one from. Maybe buy it, but why? Cerrito parts. Now, increasing your tier and therefore increasing your level can, 1, reduce the cost of your Cerrito buff and increase the time of the buff. So, is getting almost called them feature parts, Cerrito parts beneficial? Sure, absolutely. But I would say this: if you want to get a shit ton of them, get enough to tier up the Cerrito, then tier up the Cerrito, then come back in here. Because with a lot of these ship part bundles in the event store, they'll increase with your tier. So don't spend 7,500 on 100,000 Cerrito parts, because after you tier up, this should increase. And therefore you can get more for your 7,500. The cost doesn't increase, but this amount should. At least it did for, where are you? Feature parts. I have bought some feature parts in the event store. These definitely increased by tier. And as you can see here, Mantis parts T9 for tier 9. I'm at tier 9, and another 18,000 for me isn't much at all. It's not. I need almost 1 million for a tier, I feel like. So I'm not sure how I really feel about that. Don't get this plutonium garbage. That's for the hijacked ships. It's another group of things they could get rid of from the event store. They're worried about how many items are here. However, frequency modulators for your Franklin, it's a really low number. 4 parts. These are for your Discovery to tier up your Discovery. And yeah, we're about at the end. Amalgam stuff. Parts for your Amalgam. So if you're a heavy raider, you probably like this. All in all, I mean, I think the event store is kind of meh. There is some value here, especially if you like want to get a big ticket item, like say maybe a cloak, save you some faction credit, and then you're what? A few thousand, get some ship parts, get a few officer shards. However, some people like to do it that way. It's an option for you. Oh no, I don't see too much value in other stuff. This is where I see a lot of the value, but that is me. Comment below. Been doing a good job with that. Thank you so much for the comments. I appreciate the engagement you give with me. Keep it up, please. I do kind of enjoy this. What do you think about the event store overall? What's the favorite thing you're going to buy from it? Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.